In this video, I'm going to tell you how to ask for a raise and give you 5 no-nonsense tips that will help ensure you get it. So let's get to it. Hey, and welcome to Music Space, where we help working musicians just like you learn how to quickly and easily make a living with your craft. So if you're new here to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded. So first, I want to say that although I will be speaking in terms of musicians and the work that musicians do, because this is a musician's channel, that the tips that I'm about to reveal to you apply universally, no matter what type of job you have. Okay, so you've been at your job for a considerable amount of time and you've met all of your job responsibilities and you've gone beyond the call of duty and you've researched the market and found out that, a lot of other people that are in your same position are making more money than you, and you've determined that it's time for a raise. You've gotten up the nerves to ask for a meeting with your manager or your band leader or your pastor or your overseer or whatever the case may be, and you're wondering how to approach asking for a raise. Should you be upfront and aggressive, or should you be more laid back and sort of easygoing? What's the best ways to approach this conversation to help ensure you get what you ask for? Well, let's get into the 5 proven strategies to help you achieve that much deserved raise. So tip number 1 is make the case. This is the foundation of the conversation that you're going to have. And this is where you present the overall picture of, why it is that you think you deserve a raise. This is where you talk about the length of time that you've been there, or the length of time since your last raise, if you've gotten a raise before. And again, you're presenting this overall picture. You're going to list all of your major accomplishments, things that you've accomplished since you've been there, all of the responsibilities and things like that that you've met since you've been there. You can also talk about things like how you work well with the other team members or the other band members and things like that, and how they value you and, how they look to you for leadership or training or whatever the case may be, if those things, do actually exist. Again, you're just setting this overall tone and this overall foundation of the conversation that's going to lead into what you want to ask for. Now, tip number 2 is be specific. This is where you want to be very particular and very specific about what it is that you're asking for. You want to have an exact dollar amount in your mind, and you want to know that dollar amount in percentage, just in case, that's a percentage. Some people think in percentages and things like that. So you can throw out the percentage that you want of a raise as well. But you definitely want to have that exact number in mind. And you also want to speak in concise terminology. You don't want to go on rambling about some stories and things like that. You want to get to the point and stick to the point and, sort of make what's called a beeline to that sort of point that you're making about what it is that you're asking for. Don't do a lot of filibustering or small talk or things like that. You want to get to the point and you want to respect your bosses or your team leaders or, your band members or your band leaders' time. You want to respect those people's time. So you want to get to the point. You want to shoot for making these meetings to ask for a raise, maybe 15 minutes or less. So overall, you want to be specific and direct. You don't necessarily want to be curt or sound obnoxious or anything like that, or sound abrasive. You just simply want to get to the point and be direct so that you sound certain about what it is that you're asking for. Now, tip number 3 is you want to talk about your future goals and your future plans with that band or with that company or with that team. You want to speak on plans and strategies that you plan to implement that, help sort of make that team or the band or the company move forward. Present a picture of what that band or that company will look like in 5 years after you implement those strategies, and where that sort of end goal is in 5 years or even 10 years. And what this does is it shows that band leader or the company or the team member or the team leader that you have future plans for that company, and you're not planning to leave the company or anything like that. And you're looking, toward the future, which is a good thing for companies and bands as a whole. And you can even let them know things like you're not entertaining any outside offers, even though you've gotten some. Maybe you can speak on those and, sort of use those, but you don't want to necessarily use those as sort of leverage or as sort of a blackmail thing. Like, I'm getting these outside offers, and if you don't give me what I'm asking for, I'm going to take these other jobs kind of things. No, you don't want to use it in that manner. If you are getting outside offers from other places, you simply want to bring it up and say that, this made me realize once I got these outside offers that, this is what the market is now offering, and I want to be at that status. So overall, again, what you're trying to present is a picture of the future and what that future will look like if you were to get the raise that you're asking for. Okay, so tip number 4 is don't just negotiate money. Now, I know this sounds kind of weird. We're talking about a raise and salary, so of course you want to negotiate money, but there are other benefits that you can also negotiate. If it comes to a point to where what you're asking for, in salary terms is, a little bit outside of the reach of that band members or the band leaders or the company's, wishes or what they can do at the time, you can negotiate other things like, longer vacation times, or, shorter work hours during the week, or, higher bonuses or more bonuses, throughout the year. Basically, the biggest thing with this tip is you want to allow at least some space for some negotiation, since, things may not always go your way. You may not get exactly what it is that you're asking for. You can negotiate other things that will be, work withable or satisfiable until such time that you can get the sort of salary raise that you're asking for. So overall, you really just want to be work withable. You want to allow that space to, negotiate some other things should things not go your way with the salary raise that you're asking for. Now, tip number 5 is you want to create a win-win situation, or what's sort of been infamously called a quid pro quo. This is basically where you outline what it is the company is going to benefit from giving you the raise. Of course, you will get the benefit. That's your win of getting the raise. So you're outlining the sort of wins of the company. So any sort of big wins that you can think of that will happen, in that 5-10 year period, or even 2 to 3 year period, or even a year, however long you want to do it, you want to create a picture of that win for the company. The overall big wins. Should you get that raise? Should you implement the things that you're talking about implementing? Again, it's sort of like presenting that picture or that end goal, but with this one, you sort of want to go for those big wins. So you can put that picture in that band leader's mind, or in that company or that boss's mind. You want to create a picture. You want to have them imagine what it is their band or their company is going to be like at the end of those, 2 to 3 years. And one of the really easy ways that you can do this is fill in gaps or fill in needs of that band or that team or that company. And what I mean by this is, if you've recognized some areas that need improvement, if you've, sort of identified places and things that you can help out in, you want to talk about how you can fill in those gaps. You want to present this picture that you're sort of being their eyes behind their head, not, just to, be a tattletale or anything like that, but you're recognizing things that they may not see that can be improved, and you want to bring those things to their attention. Again, that sort of makes them think like, okay, this guy is like, or this girl is, sort of really thinking about this company and really thinking about the sort of best of this company and wanting to get the best out of this. That's how you present that picture. So again, this is really just about identifying, particular areas to where you can fill in voids and fill in gaps, and talk about those in that process of asking for your raise. So one of the things that you want to do when you're sitting down and you're having this conversation with your band member or your boss or your team leader or whatever the case may be, is you want to use power words. So what are power words? Power words are words or phrases that evoke and provoke emotion out of those people that you are talking to. So in language, there are words and phrases that provoke more emotion out of people than other words and phrases. And what you want to do is sort of steer toward the words that provoke emotion. So for example, and this is just a generic example, but for example, cash versus money, or, $1 million versus a lot of money. One of those things are more specific, and one of those things, evoke more emotion. If you tell somebody you're going to give them $1 million versus giving them a lot of money, although, $1 million is a lot of money, one of these words and phrases sort of has a more sort of internal meaning, or people internalize it more, and it's more likely to evoke a response out of people. So again, you want to use words and terminology and phrases that, evoke these sort of emotions out of people, or just evoke emotions out of people, period. So in conversations like this about asking for a raise, you want to use words and phrases that are more specific and that are more likely to evoke and provoke emotions, because that's when people are in that stage to where they sort of comply more, when they're sort of in a more emotional state, not emotional in a bad way, but just, they're emotional words and they're being triggered. They're more likely to respond positively. So question of the day. What are some tips that you use or that you know of that are useful in asking for a raise from your band leader or your team leader or your boss? Jump down in the comment section and let me know, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.